Let's get it. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope everybody out there is having a fantastic Tuesday. A loaded show coming your way. We're going to talk about Odell Beckham Jr. Could he be going to the rival Dallas Cowboys? Should the Eagles sign Ndamukong Suh following that injury to Jordan Davis and them once again struggling against the run against the Houston Texans? We'll tell you about how you can get a free Philadelphia Eagles jersey, but first, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're giving you daily content, Eagles news, rumors, analysis, live shows, and watch parties right here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Our goal over the next couple of days to get to 35,000 subscribers. I'm really looking at the big picture here. I want Eagles Now to get the 50,000 subscribers to enter a pretty special echelon among all YouTube channels out there. So if you want to be informed, entertained with the best Eagles coverage out there, lock us in and subscribe today. So let's begin with the latest on Odell Beckham Jr. Following the NFL trade deadline, his market starting to heat up also because he is, according to Glazer, going to get cleared soon after suffering that torn ACL in the Super Bowl last year with the Los Angeles Rams. Now, Glazer of Fox Sports said that OBJ expected to be cleared as early as this week, and there are a lot of teams across the National Football League who are in need of a wide receiver, and there's expecting to be a bidding war for his services, and the Dallas Cowboys are viewed as front runners to land him. They're a little bit thin at that wide receiver spot. The other day, we did talk about the Eagles' rumored interest in Odell Beckham Jr., which we'll expand our thoughts on coming up here just around the corner. Here's what Glazer said about the injury status with OBJ, because obviously that's the most important thing. He has to get cleared in order for him to sign with the team and then be on the field to be an impactful player. Glazer said this: OBJ, I have learned, will be ready and cleared by the end of this week. Full clear. No limitations at all. Then after that, it's just up for a team to get his conditioning up and obviously get a playbook down. Now, OBJ got off to a historic start with the New York Giants. He was doing some special things. And a lot of people out there like to say, well, if it wasn't for that one-handed catch, which was stupid on Sunday Night Football, causing, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth to go crazy, he wouldn't be as hyped as he is right now. But outside of that catch, he really did have a couple of terrific years. Then he fell out of favor in New York. Dave Gettleman was a terrible general manager. He goes to the Cleveland Browns, and him and Baker Mayfield just didn't get along. But some of the production was still there. Then last year with the Rams, when a lot of people thought he was washed, he ended up being a very important weapon down the stretch for the future Super Bowl champions. As for the odds to land OBJ, Philadelphia Eagles aren't on this list, but we know that Howie Roseman stays aggressive, is always aggressive, and is always looking to be aggressive. So he could swoop in really and snatch him away from one of these teams, especially if he tries to poach him away from the Dallas Cowboys, who right now are the leaders in the clubhouse, plus 250 to land OBJ. That translates to a nearly 29% chance of signing him, followed by the Green Bay Packers, who swung and missed for a wide receiver at the NFL trade deadline, as Aaron Rodgers looks absolutely miserable right now. A reunion with the Giants still in play with an 18+% chance, followed by the Rams with the return there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they got a big win the other night, and the Chiefs and Bills at 12-1 odds. Before we really shift our focus to whether or not OBJ could go to the Eagles and what Jerry Jones said about Odell Beckham Jr. on the radio this morning, which has really ramped up OBJ to Dallas rumors, should the Eagles snatch OBJ away from the Cowgirls? S for sign, P for pass. Join the conversation. Let me know right now down below. The big question, obviously, as it pertains to the Birds, Howie Roseman could get involved. That's really according to some of the rumblings out there that are hot on the Twitter streets. But do the Eagles even need Odell Beckham Jr.? Probably not. This Eagles offense, one of the best in the NFL, for the last remaining unbeaten team in the National Football League. And with that trade of A.J. Brown, it made their wide receiver room a lot deeper. You look at the three-headed monster, so to speak, with the Eagles wideouts this year. Obviously, Dallas Goedert is in this conversation as a legitimate weapon, but not in that wide receiver room, right? So A.J. Brown, 43 catches this year, 718 yards with 6 touchdowns. And when you watch A.J. Brown and his utilization in this offense, you probably think, look, he is just outrunning Devontae Smith with wide receiver production. In fact, he only has 3 more catches, but 718 yards to 442 from the bulky Batman to skinny Batman, and then Quez Watkins, fast Batman, 8 catches, 113 yards, 1 touchdown. As Zach Pascal is kind of taken away some snaps from Quez Watkins. Why OBJ to the Birds would be interesting, though, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, they can play outside, they can play inside. I love the versatility to their games. OBJ, though, as the slot guy in the Eagles offense would give Jalen Hurts yet another weapon. And the combination of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith with Odell Beckham Jr., Jalen Hurts and his dual threat ability with the ground game and the best offensive line in football would make already one of the more explosive and consistent and highest scoring offenses in the NFL even better. As for the Cowboys' interest in OBJ, here's what Jerry Jones said early on a Tuesday morning. My man just can't help himself sometimes. It's awesome. It's hilarious. Odell is someone that we have all the appreciation for in the world for what he is as a competitor. I know the Cowboys star on that helmet, when he puts it on, could look pretty good. Translation for Jerry, as we do a little impersonation, I know the Cowboys star on that helmet would look pretty damn good on Odell Beckham Jr. Grade the impersonation, A, B, C, D, or F. But you can just hear Jerry Jones saying that and just fawning over OBJ. Now, this is a little bit of a joke, but honestly, it's really true. Why the Cowboys love Odell Beckham Jr.? He's a big-name player, and they always go big fish hunting and big game hunting. He's a marketable superstar. He's a little bit past his prime. Jerry Jones knows that the national media would fawn over the Cowboys and them signing OBJ, and you can just see the media scrum around OBJ with that dyed hair in the Cowboys locker room, and this would yet be another classic Jerry Jones signing for all of these reasons here. Now, I do want to test your football acumen and just see where you're at with what you think of OBJ. Is he still an impactful player? Let me know down below, Y for yes or N for no. We're going to get to Ndamukong Suh right around the corner and whether or not he could upgrade this Eagles defense after they didn't make any trades on NFL trade deadline day. But first, do you want a free Eagles jersey? Yeah, listen closely. Do you want a free Philadelphia Eagles jersey? And maybe it's a Jalen Hurts jersey, who right now is in the thick of the NFL MVP race, especially after Patrick Mahomes struggled against the Tennessee Titans and Josh Allen went down against the New York Jets. Here's how you can get your hands on some fresh Eagles gear. Head to chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Enter the promo code Eagles125. That is our sportsbook partner, BetUS, by the way. You sign up and deposit $100 or more. No matter where you are, this deal applies for you. You don't have to be in a special state. You get a 125% deposit bonus back when you put down $100, so that's $225 to game with. So basically, you get $225 and a free Eagles jersey. You make your first bet, then tell us that you followed all these steps here by emailing us, jersey@chatsports.com. We'll let those responses come in, then we'll get back to you. And the jersey that we really do want to push here is the Jalen Hurts jersey. He's having an MVP caliber season in my eyes. He is the front runner for MVP. So follow those steps. We'll send you a free Eagles jersey. They come from Fanatics, jersey@chatsports.com. Get hooked up today. Now let's shift gears to Ndamukong Suh. The Eagles' run defense continues to struggle. Is Ndamukong Suh the answer with Jordan Davis out? Because Jordan Davis was playing really good football against the run with more snaps. Now, this comes in light of the Eagles once again struggling against the run. And my biggest key to the game last Thursday night, appreciate everybody for tuning into the watch party, is and was the Eagles, it is continuing to go up against the run, moving ahead into the future. For that game specifically, though, it was stopping Dameon Pierce. We know that Davis Mills isn't a fantastic quarterback by any means, and Philip Dorsett was their number one wide receiver, so we knew going into that game that for the Eagles to win, the defense had to stop the run. And in the first half, they couldn't. Really, all throughout the game, they couldn't. It wasn't until that second half when the Texans had to come back from a multi-score deficit that they started throwing the football, and that's when Davis Mills coughed it up and threw 2 interceptions, one to C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the other to James Bradbury, but Dameon Pierce went off. And you saw the biggest hole on this Eagles defense. It is that ground attack. And in the playoffs, it starts to be a little bit concerning when the game gets tight or if a team gets a lead and the Eagles can't get off the field because the opposition continues to run the football down their throat, or if another team who plays a physical smash mouth brand of football sees the Eagles' weakness going up against that rush, and they look at that as a formula to upset the Eagles in the playoffs. And Pierce really provided that sample size, but the sample size has been there all year long. Pierce ran for 139 yards, average yards per carry 5.1, which is high, and those 5.1 yards per tote, it's about the average for the Eagles defense this year. Their run defense rankings, they are bottom tier in the NFL, and bad in a lot of categories here. 3 to be exact, yards per game. 121.4. That's 20th in the NFL. Yards per carry, 29th among 32 teams. And speaking of those 32 teams, rushing first down percentage, Eagles 29.3. That is 32nd in the NFL. So could Ndamukong Suh be the answer? His market up to this point has been somewhat dry, but with Jordan Davis being on IR, even if Davis comes back and when he comes back, Suh, a pretty good backup defensive tackle who could at least maybe help the Eagles' rush defense a little bit. This is a guy who's been getting it done for a really long time. I am somewhat surprised as we take a look at his numbers that his market is this dry and he hasn't latched on with the team, because physically I still think he has some gas left in the tank. But what is causing teams to hit pause? This is a guy who obviously never really quite lived up to those expectations coming out of Nebraska when people thought he was going to be an all-world defender, but this is a guy who's made it to Pro Bowls. He won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and has been a very good player. I love his aggressiveness. Sometimes it has cost his teams in a very Derek Barnett fashion, but as early as 2018, 59 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, and he's always available, right? 2019, another solid year. 2020, good year, 6 sacks, and last year, guy had 6 sacks in 17 games played with 27 tackles and 7 tackles for loss. Sometimes when veteran players are able to latch on with a title contending team like Philadelphia, for the instance of this conversation, like they get rejuvenated and they feel refreshed and they have that boost of energy that they need to really extend their careers and give it one last opportunity to maybe win another Super Bowl championship. And I think with Ndamukong Suh, he can still give you some snaps. That's without Jordan Davis. That's with Jordan Davis. And if you just teach him this defense, and he gets the nuances of it down, where he can play alongside Javon Hargrave, who last 2 weeks has been phenomenal, as well as Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, now Robert Quinn. Like, he can be an impactful player and maybe help you at least a little bit against the ground game. And for opposing teams, when he's on the field, they know, okay, maybe we can't run through the trenches. They try to get out to the perimeter, and I think this Eagles defense does have some speed getting out to the edge. So with that, let's ask you this. What should the Eagles do? SS for sign Suh, DS for don't sign. Once again, join the conversation, and if you want to rip me for this idea, you can in the comment section. Either way, I appreciate everybody for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and keep it locked right here for daily videos on the Philadelphia Eagles.